So today we're going to go over the monthly report from beginning to end in full detail with all of the supporting footage that we have, concept images we have. We're going to reference old monthly reports. We're going to look at the progress tracker. We're going to see what they're doing with Star Citizen. If you don't like that, I've got a shortened version coming out at the end of this week. If you do like it though, stick around and maybe check out the stream every month, actually. First Monday or second Monday of every month we do this, and I think it acts as a good way to give people some more context as to what's actually going on in this game, because the monthly reports do way better than the roadmap. So we're doing it live. Let's go. All right, chat. We're starting with AI. The most fun, the most impactful and incredible part of the game. All right, AI content says throughout May, the team focused on improving the visuals of general AI locomotion. The animation director identified locomotion overlays and fidget as a vital area of improvement. So the team authored 40 new overlays, including scalp scratching, knuckle cracking, and stretching. I actually got to do the mocap. Those are all original. The overlays build on the walk cycle work completed earlier in the year to provide more visually pleasing AI locomotion. You know, this stuff like immediately makes me think, oh my gosh, why are they working on this? But like, you gotta remember that every game does this, right? Every game works on locomotion stuff. It's just, you never hear about it. I wish you did. I really do. I'd love if they were like, oh, so like a couple of weeks ago, we worked on locomotion for Starfield. More context. Give me more context. Alongside this, AI content began using the dynamic conversations tech recently delivered by AI Tech. AI Tech goes to AI content, and then it goes into the game, which allows groups of AI to spontaneously begin conversations. The aim is to have this implemented across a variety of usables. 3 use cases have been created so far: the 4-person mess hall table, the idle spot, and the arcade machine. And you can actually go back through here and track this stuff that they've been working on. So it went from AI Tech. Sorry. So this is the March monthly report. And I believe in here we can find... okay, it might have been the February monthly report. The one I didn't have pulled up. Look, my freaking browser knows exactly where we want to go. AI Tech. Here we go. Dynamic conversations. Team exposing functionality for activities to mark up areas where NPCs can talk to each other. Using usables, routing functionality retrieves all possible participants and then dynamically spawns conversations relevant to the available characters. I think they talk about it a little bit more somewhere else. But anyways, so this is AI Tech, right? This is a super, I think, important thing to grasp, at least by how they do AI. They were talking about this in AI Tech back in February. And then in March, I'm not seeing any real mentions of it. I do believe they talked about it. Maybe it was up here. I don't know. So I don't know if they talked about the conversations in March, but then if you go to April again, and you go to AI content, they talk about, so it went from AI Tech in February to AI content in April, where they say they've got the new dynamic conversation tech to work so that characters can systemically converse with others while utilizing usables. So it's moved from one team to another, right? And now we're in May, and it's moved from AI content still to AI content. They're still working on it, but it goes to show the way that it progresses from this team, which it always sounds kind of conceptual when they're working on it, to the AI content team who kind of starts talking about the actual ways it'll be used in game. I don't really know if that gives any context as to how far away it is from coming into the game, but it is cool that it's making progress pretty clearly. Did I see the latest roadmap? What do I think of the BMM? I don't think it'll be finished this year, no. 500 subs in the last 3 days. Yeah, that new video is doing very well. Surprisingly well. Hey, it's Yamez. How you doing? Good to have you here with us. All right, on to AI tech. They worked on spaceship functionalities, including several improvements to quantum travel and quantum boost. Now, ships can accelerate while spooling before the actual jump. This functionality was also exposed as an assignment for missions. We'll touch back on this because there's more about this in the monthly report, but I'm actually working on a small video to talk about this more because quantum travel sounds like it's changing quite a bit. The team also cleaned up and activated several feature test maps into the game dev stream. These maps were validated to ensure the team can better track features that might be impacted by the changes of different teams. For subsumption, focus was on improving the usability of editing conversations. The internal representation of the GUID and super GUIDs was improved too. Sometimes they just throw these terms in there and I'm just like, oh, okay. Building on last month's work, feedback was addressed regarding NPCs pushing trolleys. We did see that in here somewhere. NPCs pushing trolleys. Yep, here we go. Interacting with trolleys, which was also mentioned in last month's report. And if we go in there, yes, you can see also NPCs moving trolleys. They like to reference themselves. The team now have better control over what forces are applied to the trolley by using an angular and 2 linear PID controllers. They also improved the exact positioning logic at the end of a path and added stuck detector usage. Oh yeah, the timer never started. Let me take that off the screen. Stupid timer. Yeah, dumb timer. For human combat, an initial skeleton of the defend area assignment was implemented to allow the designers to specify areas that NPCs can use for their behaviors. For example, guards will use this to understand which zones they should patrol. I guess this would definitely work with the nav mesh, but I'm really wondering how this can be applied to remove no-fly zones, you know? Tell NPCs that if somebody goes here or does this, warn them twice and then shoot them. Instead of having just random invisible walls and stuff. Because players pushing trolleys works so well. At least they can control NPCs pushing trolleys. We push trolleys and we just freaking we'll throw a trolley in a spaceship and then fly that spaceship into the city. NPCs will just like scoot it across a hangar and be like, "Okay, boss. All right." Occlusion calculation was restored to stop NPCs from ignoring hidden enemies while shooting, which will help them preserve ammunition and prevent individual targets from being overly targeted. How many, by a raise of hands in chat, how many of you have seen an NPC just sit there and shoot at the wall because there is a target behind him? Oh my gosh, NPCs are dumb. Just the silliest. Hey, Jensenbe, thank you for following as well as the subscription. I didn't even see the follow. Thanks so much. The team also improved the friendly fire validation and can now assign different factions different behaviors. This includes bad guys only trying to preserve the life of their group, while good guys also trying to avoid hitting neutral factions like civilians. So like Ninetales would probably be much less likely to care about where they're shooting, whereas security would. I don't know if I've really noticed that in a game before. I think because most of the games I play don't have civilians in them. I think a game like GTA would probably be a good example of how that works, but one of y'all might know better than me because I haven't played that game in a long time. But do we have AI that are usually pretty good at discerning things based on their faction? Floors more than walls, yeah. They'll be shooting at floors too. Haven't seen them shoot the wall, but I have seen them endlessly double tapping a down gang member. Yeah, they love to shoot dead bodies. They're quite rude, these NPCs. Several fixes to the usable code were added, including one causing NPCs to use usables they were not authorized to use. Bad NPC. Like when the janitor NPC picks up the keys to the constellation. You're like, hey, that's not your usable, sit down. They also extended the usable code to allow them to set up slotting functionalities through loadout entries, allowing them to access item ports not exposed directly in DataForge. Yes, of course. For example, setting up a Gladius as a usable with varying inspection usables depending on whether missions are equipped or not. Let me read that one again. For example, setting up a Gladius as a usable with varying inspection usables depending on whether missiles are equipped or not. This is they also extended the usable code to allow them to set up slotting functionalities through loadout entries, allowing them to access item ports not exposed directly in DataForge. Nah, see, rereading it over and over is not really doing it for me, but we got raided. Croncy! Croncy's bringing in the freaking whoa. Croncy raideroo with a lot of 07s. I love the self 07 actually. Welcome aboard. What do I call you, Croncites? The Croners? What's up? How y'all doing? Wait till you get to the engine section. Oh, trust me. I've already written the script for my video for this. The reason I'm stumbling over this is because I initially was writing the script and decided I didn't want to figure out how it worked. Ooh, the concierge. I like that. That is... Oh, yes. Oh, that is fucking gold. I love that. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Were you playing some Star Citizen before you came in here? For anybody who's wondering what the heck's going on, we got raided on Twitch. A lot of people just came in here to join us for this monthly overview. For anybody who just jumped in on the raid, we're currently doing a monthly overview. And this is of the May monthly report. We got supporting evidence from April, March, and February monthly reports. We got the progress tracker. We've got most of the video clips from the last 3 years of ISC. We got a lot of stuff that we're looking through and going through to get a really good handle of what's actually been going on in the development recently. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, getting more educated on all that jazz, please stick around for a bit. Grab a squash, you know, chill. I don't know why squash. There's squash in gardens, so I think I just saw somebody say squanch. Kronk the squanch. Yeah, but no, really, everybody who wants to, please file in, sit down. It's a good Monday. It's a good time to learn. I appreciate everybody who did come in. Is that talking about them being able to inspect hatches like the fuel port next to the pilot ladder? It might be that. It's certainly talking about exposing item ports. I just don't know why that's specific. Being bad boys for the first time. Oh, were you running some piracy stuff going on? What's up, Joe? Good to see you, Hex, Joe. Going back, sorry, to what we just read on the monthly report. I can't exactly explain what they just said, but I believe I have a good graphical implementation of what they're talking about, which is this. So, yeah, actually, this will be better. So, everything is an object, right? And in this example, they mentioned a Gladius having, man, do I not have any of the ship itself? No, that's corrupt. So basically, like, let's say instead of, oh, hello. Instead of rover here, it said Gladius. I believe what they're talking about is exposing the other things here to the developers to be able to use them, or at least to the game to be able to see them. But the idea is always that every vehicle is kind of its own thing, and it has little nodes that come off of it that denote what it can be attached to. And those things always need to be tracked and imported in. So I think maybe what they're talking about is those are the loadout entries we're hearing. And the Gladius can now do something. That's it, you know? Is the Squadron 42 report they talked about making the rear fueling port a usable. Ah, okay. Gotcha. So it's making these item ports actually usable. Anyone see constantly getting the looting bug? Ooh, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it in my own gameplay. Makes sense. They've been putting in a lot of tools that interact with other tools easily. Yeah, you know, the tools stuff. Okay, let's move on to AI vehicle features, because like AI tech is cool, but we're all here for the ships, right? So the AI vehicle feature team completed the Flight AI tool. This enables the developers to control and set up specific AI scenarios across various ships. Sounds like a Squadron 42 kind of thing. They're currently porting the new dive attack maneuver to the combat pilot AI, which allows reckless and aggressive pilots fighting against capital ships to dynamically choose a maneuver when required. Sounds like a super Squadron 42 thing. They also made changes to the way they apply backwash thruster effect, as it was negatively affecting AI. Now, it controls forces by the size of the ship's surface, so smaller ships have less of an impact on larger ships. I wonder if they were having like some kind of a problem where... Yeah, I don't know what kind of problem they'd be having where that would have been a thing. That's weird. You're tracking timestamps, don't... Oh, thank you, Drazen. That helps a freaking ton. Thank you a bunch. Hey, don't even worry about switching off the different AI things. Just focus on the non-parentheses words. If that changes, then we change. Like art, features, let all of that be its own single category. Makes it a little easier. But thank you, Drazen. OG Drazen. VIP, or the MVP. Thank you. They also made changes to the... Oh, I already read that. So we're on to animation. All right, so in animation, for the PU, the facial animation team finished off performances for various in-game emotes, worked on a new mission giver, whoop, and created the facial animations for female vendors and male and female workers. Yo! Yo, 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 yo. Check this out. The mission giver. It keeps popping up, right? We saw talk of a mission giver, I think, in animation last month. Yeah. Here we go. Facial animations for a new mission giver. That's very important. That's super important to see. To be quite honest, we all want better missions, right? We're all looking for more things to do in this game. But when it comes down to it, the missions that are going to matter are going to be the mission giver missions. And to know that they're finally working on mission givers again, for anybody who doesn't know what mission givers are, let me take you back. Let me take you back in the history books. All the way back to 2019. Let's see. Here we go. I think she might have been the last one. Yeah. All the way back to 2019, my friends. Freaking 3 years ago was the last time we got a mission giver. And she still has the best mission in the game. So... You know, a lot of my OGs out there in chat, y'all remember Tessa Bannister. Best missions in the game. You know the investigation mission at Covalix where you have to do the investigating. One of the best missions in the game. These are the better missions. And the fact that they had to put mission givers down, I think probably until server meshing was working, was disappointing. But I'm really, really glad to see them regularly talking about them again. Yeah, it could be the Pyro mission giver Krantz. I mean, that would make the most sense, right? They did have a couple of mission givers in the pipeline for Stanton that they never got to do. One of them is in the game, actually. He's a bartender at Microtech. His name's Eddie Parr, and he'll serve you drinks. But there were also 2 other mission givers that were supposed to be made at Orison who were advocacy people. So maybe they're holding off on them. Maybe they're going to bring in Agent Dooley as a mission giver, but it does seem like they're focusing again on trying to get into this stuff. It won't matter until we hear about the narrative team getting involved, though. A giver for the derelict settlements. Who knows? Maybe the roaming... What were they calling it? The roaming arms dealer is a new addition that they're bringing into the game. Maybe that's a mission giver. Anna's character's supposed to be at Orison. Okay, so maybe then the advocacy people, because they had, what were their names? Orison mission givers would probably make them come up. There were 2 of them. Yeah, Devin Bautista and Lisa Gibbs. So these were actually already, not the real person. These were already mission givers that were planned for the game. They had their concept art done. Whoops, don't say that. They had their concept art done. They had some backstory. They were supposedly advocacy agents that you could go meet in Orison. I'm wondering if they're going to move them aside now. Game looks interesting. I might check it out. Is it worth picking up? Not really. Not yet. I think it's worth trying for free. They let you do it for free multiple times throughout the year. But right now, I would say no. Don't pick it up if you're not addicted to this kind of game. Would likely be in one of the vacant offices on Stratus. That'd be a solid spot. So yeah, I'm wondering what's going to happen to these two. Because they didn't really start talking about them again. Anyways, also... never mind, that's not that important. Dually like from the UEE missions? Yeah. If you enjoy pain and paying $45 for pain, then get it. Yeah, you gotta be a special... I mean, this is a very, very cool game for people who like space games. But... it's still an alpha. Like, it's still very frustrating to play. It's still not that fun for, like, just as a general experience. So... I think that if you are the type of person who's willing to jump into Space Engineers for 400 hours, yeah, you're going to get a kick out of Star Citizen. But if you're like, if you came from No Man's Sky and your next space game is Starfield and you're looking for like an MMO, you got better choices than Star Citizen. Just hold off, you know? It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere at this point. You've paid $45 for worse and less engaging games, though. That's true. And like... that is completely true. I would prefer to come at it from the opposite angle. I'm always gonna err on the side of caution for people who are coming into this. You could definitely do worse with $45 in the game industry. You could do worse with $20 in the game industry. Star Citizen's got something really special going for it, but as a general experience, I think it's still in it pretty iffy. Best guess for a game official launch? Launch, I would say like this game going live, like them saying no more wipes, we're out of beta. This is the persistent universe going forward. No earlier than 2026, 2027. I would hope for earlier, but I don't expect it. We play it for what we want to be, not for what it is. What we want it to be and not for what it is. I would say it isn't exciting because of the development and detail. Right, Commander Rex, I am exactly there with you. But as we're getting more into this fourth phase of development and the game's starting to show a lot more of what it's been working towards, more people are starting to come into this game and not care at all about the development. And like, that's not really the most important approach, but CIG has to recognize that and start to account for that, I think. Very little polish overall for basic mechanics. Still missing a lot of basic mechanics, yeah. Holy Jesus. Yeah, it's a ways away. Most of the reason that it's going to be that long before beta is because they're building another game first. This isn't their main priority. They're gonna release an entirely other video game before Star Citizen. Really taken off in recent years. It has. It's gotten to a point where people feel comfortable thinking about playing it, like actually playing it. Like Jack Frags plays this game. That's just strange to me, you know? You think once Squadron 42, you can stop praying for a stable, persistent universe? I think it'll still be a little while after. But I think by the time Squadron 42 comes out, Star Citizen's going to be pretty stable. I don't think it'll be good, like a full release stable, but it will be way better than this. Pray server meshing helps as much as we need it to. Yeah, but I mean, by the time Squadron comes out, server meshing will be in its second, third, maybe even fourth iteration, right? We might have dynamic server meshing by the time Squadron comes out. Anyways, I've taken enough time away. Sorry, let's get back to the report. Y'all keep chatting though. It's a good conversation. On the art side of things, let's start with characters. Character art. You can see it's a huge section. They spent the month wrapping up Q2 assets, which included work on several armor variants, which also, my friends, for anybody who didn't catch their statement last year, means backpacks. Every single armor variant they make in the game now will now come with backpacks, which I love, because we don't have enough backpacks. They also continue work on the Pyro Frontier outfits. Now, I've got some of that goodness for you. Let me show you what the Frontier outfits are looking like. They're actually very cool, but they have spent a lot of time working on them. Like, I'm wondering if these Pyro outfits might be some of the first iterations of that layering tech they've been talking about with the cloth, and the different ways they want clothes to work, because I'm pretty sure if we look at the Pyro like outfit stuff, is it on here? Might not actually be on here. Let's see, let's do colonialism. Outpost theme variants. No. Let's see. What team would be working on that? Character art? Generic utility backpack, loot generation, mail specialist, Orison jacket, Orison V. Dang, they have a lot of stuff they're working on. I'm guessing it must be this. They must just be involved in this segment, so we can't really see it there, but like you can go all the way back to February art and you can see that they were working on Pyro stuff. Yeah, continued to further develop the Frontier outfits coming to Pyro. Go to March. Look at these, look at the what they're talking about. Character art focused on the Frontier outfits for Pyro. Go to April. Look at art. Character art continued to work on Frontier clothing for Pyro. Go to May. Look at characters. They also continued to work on the Pyro Frontier outfits. So like, they're really... Oh, was I not searching? I was searching deliverable, but I don't think they have anything for colonialism. So yeah, they've got a lot of importance put on these, and I'm gonna pull up that video of them right now. Am I not categorized by time? There we go. So this is one of them. And you can see they're very cloth based, right? There's not that much armor going on here. So I'm wondering if this is starting to get into some of those systems they've been talking about. Chris was working on these heavily, the layering, the physics that's applied to this, but it's vastly different style from Stanton. I really like it. I mean, how can you not? Like these are very cool looking outfits. Don't know what they'll move forward with, but I do hope it's like several of them. You know, I don't want to see the same 2 or 3 things popping up. But yeah, that's been a very heavy focus for them. Frontier. Frontier. There we go. Good call. Thank you, Infomouse. So, Frontier clothing, 44 weeks of work, starting Q3 last year and going all the way into Q2 of this year. That's a lot of work for some clothes, right? Like the character art and tech team, character tech art, and SC character art. Why so much art? I don't know. I feel like there's got to be more to this than just a couple of outfits. Crossy, you never heard of Jack Frags? He doesn't usually do much stuff in things like Star Citizen. He's very much... I always think of him as Battlefield focused. But I guess he jumps around a lot. FPS shooters generally. And he's just got, I think he's got like 4 million subscribers. And he's been giving a lot of time to Star Citizen recently. And people have been really liking it. Oh, you're helping Reese out. Gotcha. Yeah, Reese was the one who asked. Okay, on to art ships. You all know what that means. We're gonna get all of the ship news now. I love how the ship news comes in the art section. I mean, I get why, because most of the other stuff that's being worked on is in features, but like, it's just funny how, yeah, you know. Anyways, last month, the UK team began improving the damage maps on all ships in preparation for the salvage mechanic. This is, I can never find this, I can never find this video clip easily. I'm really bad about this. Development also continued on several vehicles. An unannounced ground vehicle progressed into final art and design. So that's probably coming 317 too, maybe 318. I wonder what that would be about. Features. While a new ship entered the early gray box stage, with work on the cockpit and dashboard progressing well. They didn't say it was an unannounced ship. They just said it was a new ship. I don't know if we should read into that too much, but it is kind of particular that they did not say unannounced ship when they say unannounced ship all the time. The Banu Merchantman continued to move through gray box with May's focus on the ship's exterior art. The team are currently working on the underside and the look and feel of its wings. Y'all know what the Banu Merchantman looks like? Here it is compared to what it used to look like and what it looks like now. So it got a lot bigger. But for more background, the Banu Merchantman is an alien ship made as sort of like a traveling bazaar. At least that's how it was originally concepted. We don't know how it will come into the game. It's majestic, I feel like, is really the only way to describe it. It's incredible. I mean, you can see here in these sort of previs, I think this is just previs, all these animations that they've been working on figuring out. You can tell that it's very intricate the way it works and the way it's built, and all of the things that they try to do with it are flowy and organic and just like incredible. So it comes from this race called the Banu, who are very common in trade and things like that. Our friendliest friends in the game, actually, to humans. And on the outside, while it looks very big and kind of crazy looking, on the inside, it's incredibly ornate. It's super fancy. It's meant to be this high luxury, high fashion, not fashion, like just a very pompous almost environment to get you into the mood to experience this buying opportunity. Now, the way I'm talking about all of this is the way they've talked about all this. The way that I feel like this is going to play out, honestly, I don't know. I don't know how the gameplay surrounding this ship is going to work. It's an amazing concept. The ship's very cool. The stuff they're doing with it sounds incredible, but they have to build an experience out of purchasing things, and I'm not sure how well that's going to go when it comes to player. NPC wise, I can see it, and as being a space for missions and objectives, I could totally see it, but I don't know. It's going to be a weird addition to the game. Nonetheless, I do think when this ship comes into the game, it'll probably be the most impressive ship to ever be made in a video game. It's always a new ship if it's in gray box. What else was there? The Argo SRV began production and it's nearing white box complete, with the final white box review scheduled soon. For those who don't know the SRV, I put out a video about this last week. It is our tugboat. You can tug ships with it. You can tug cargo with it. And you can even team up with your friends to tug bigger ships with it. So this is kind of like the mover of the verse. And the coolest part to me about this is, oh God, I hate this song. Get this off of my freaking playlist. Get this song out of here. How do I shut this off? Remove. Thanks. I love this. Deus Ex, System Shock, Thief, Prey to an extent, immersive sims, you know, like so much fun to play with because they just give you tools and let you do whatever you want. That seems to be what Star Citizen's doing with the tractor beams, and I'm in love. They're saying that anything in the game that's interactable, if you can combine enough tractor beams with their mass, you should be able to move it. I don't know if that's true right now, but that's how they want it to be. And they're saying that this ship will be able to move ships, boxes, dead people, asteroids. They said that this ship can move asteroids if they're interactable, which are mineable asteroids. So the idea of this ship gets really exciting when you start to think about the weird creative possibilities, especially with the fact that like you could use this ship to carry all of the ships over to a reclaimer, so you don't have to move a reclaimer around to do all of its crunching and derelicting. It's just an exciting ship to start seeing worked on. I think we'll see it next year. I like this song. It's quite nice. It's pleasant. In the US, the team continued building the Drake Corsair. On the interior, major passes were completed on the turret airlock and manned turret cabin, while most of the crew quarters were finished, including the captain's quarters near the cockpit, the entire... Oh, sorry, that was the end of a sentence. Reading comprehension. The entire cargo hold was blocked out and details are currently being added. The main airlock / staging room on the starboard side of the ship was also completed. And we've actually got some... I believe we got some Corsair footage for you all. I'm excited for the Corsair. It's one of my possible favorite ships in the game. I won't know until I get to fly it. There you get to see the beautiful freaking cockpit. Look at how detailed this is. So this actually reminds me a ton of... let's see... Oh, Stream Elements. Did you just post... you idiot. Stream Elements, so dumb. Let's see. So this reminds me of... this. Whoops. I always say it. I think I said it in my Starfield trailer. Or in my Starfield video. I was like, if there was going to be a company that made a ship that was going to be in Starfield, it'd be Drake. Look at this. Like, come on. Where's that dang picture? Get back here. Oh, that's right. What is up with this? Go away. You two, go away. Go away. Get out of here. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. Apparently I can't open Chrome and pictures at the same time. This reminds me of this, which I feel is got that like tactile, quote unquote, NASA punk feel. And the Corsair is looking phenomenal on the interior, but it also there's plenty more work going on in it. It's looking great. Elevator shaft, as they were talking about, the crew quarters, as they were talking about. They've given us a good cutout view so we could kind of visualize how the whole ship looks inside, and it's coming together quite well. The interior seems like it's almost completely done, and yeah, I'm really excited for this ship. Let me see if I can get you a good exterior view of it, so anybody who hasn't seen it knows a little bit better what it looks like here. So this is kind of what it looks like from the outside. That's the gray box view. No colors or anything, but you get the idea. It's a asymmetric ship with a very long wing on one side. It's supposed to be an explorer, but they keep talking about it in terms of piracy and like, I don't know. That's just what they do though. They're like, oh, it's Drake. You must be a pirate. Don't let them typecast you, all right? Don't let your dreams be dreams. Let's get back to the report. Where's chat? I lost chat. Haters will hate, but you like Drake ships. Drake's the best. Hey, Drake's doing good work. You know, they figured out their market. I want to know. You would love many videos, but not many 3-minute videos. I do not know what videos you are referring to. That thing's going to lose a wing so fast. It might. That thing might not be getting into fights that often, though, as an exploration ship. The side room was completely stripped in that white box. Gotcha. They're exploring your cargo bay. They're exploring all options to get rid of you. On the exterior, progress was made on the gray box, including the nacelles, main retro thrusters, and development again on the landing gear and remote turrets too. So we kind of saw that in those videos as well. Oh, lore-related videos. I see. You would prefer long lore-related videos? Going to see ERTs all the time. Hey, well, that's on the pilot then, right? It does have a lot of guns on it. It's weird that an Explorer would have so many guns, huh? A Reliant update would be great. Long lore videos. I got a good talk with Paul on my second channel with the Astropub. We every once in a while we get together and do like an hour-long talk on lore if you want to see those. Okay, now we're on to the engine section. Kronzi, are you ready? For what it's worth, everybody, this is going to be mainly me just reading and like going. So if you want to know more about this, I would probably find somebody who's smarter than myself, but I'll see what I can drum up from this old bucket head. In May, the physics team added a new dynamic entity to simulate rope running over pulley wheel. That was actually, so this is the first thing. This kind of gave me pause because this is the second time now we've heard about them talking about rope, right? And this time it's a very particular application. So I have a very specific, here we go. Y'all want to know what I think this is about? It's a long shot, but we've gotten at least one sign that it's a possibility. All right, ready? Bear with me. Okay, come on. You just killed the anticipation video clip. Come on. That guy. I think it could be repelling. Maybe. Like, wouldn't that be great? They've shown it to us in the engine, like they've teased it to us before, but at the same time I'm like, why would we use rope and a pulley to repel or to move throughout a cave? You know, I'm trying to convince myself that we would be doing that in 900 days or 900 years, but at the same time I'm like, would we? I hope so. Cuz like if they're moving in that direction, that means that caves are going to get much more vertical, which sounds much more fun. Who needs a tractor beam when you have a harpoon and a grapple gun? Right? That's how you capture a space whale. Harpoon. So yeah, I hope that we're getting repelling, especially because I'm sick and tired of clambering in caves. As an optimization, round-robin free lists were added for factories to reduce contention when creating or destroying objects. Okay. Additionally, vehicle pad normals are now cached to speed up collision processing. Guess that, like, when you're landing, your pads don't go through the floor. Wouldn't we just have a hover pack? Maybe, but this game also focuses a lot on, well, it doesn't yet, but they've always planned on focusing a lot on how much power you have. Your suit will be powered, your tractor beams will be powered, your guns will be powered, and you'd have to keep all those things lasting. So if we have thruster packs, that could be great, but it's also another powered thing you'd have to track. Rope and pulley might be better because it's always usable. We're already getting drone gurneys. Again, the power thing, I think, guys, seems to be something that they're talking a lot about. They mentioned that recently with the reason you'd use the mule over tractor beams, because the mule won't run out of power, whereas a tractor beam, eventually you're gonna have to plug it in, replace the battery, do something like that. It's about choice, right? Hey, take this hover pack, this thruster pack, but that's gonna add a ton of weight to you, so you'll be over encumbered. You can't wear a backpack, so you can't carry things. And you might run out of power at some point. Or take this rope and pulley and put it in your backpack. Don't have to worry about power and always have it be usable. It might just be that kind of a trade-off. That's what CIG seems to like to do. But, you know, this is all speculation. Good old speculation, sonny. On the renderer, work on the Gen 12 transition continued. APIs for transient resource sets and various transient buffer types further matured, and all relevant client code was updated to make use of them. Oh, you know? Love those transient resource sets. Good stuff. It's sometimes about cost. Yeah, you set the world on fire with a nuke, but maybe you just can't afford to. I decided to join up in Star Citizen because of you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how jank is the game where it becomes unplayable? It can change week to week because it just depends a lot on how many people are playing and stuff. I would say right now we're at like a solid. If 10 is like, I will not even try to load into the game, and 1 is like release quality, I'd say it's around like a 5 or 6. To be quite honest, for a casual player, I think for most Star Citizen diehards, it's probably around like a 3. Like, they'll play Star Citizen, smack you around, eat your dinner, make you pay extra taxes, and these people will still be like, give me more. You know, we're addicted. But for most people, I would say it's like a 5. It can be very exhausting. 5 is kind of harsh. I'm leaning more harsh though. You know, I'm just trying to play it safe as possible. We're in such a weird situation now where this game is kind of starting to expand a lot, and people are coming, and way more people are coming into this game not expecting what this game is compared to 2 years ago or a year ago. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more cautious with the advice I give on jumping in. The more people listen to me talk crap about the game and then go look at other videos, the better it's going to be. There's at least that. Where was I? The Gen 12 pipeline to render cube maps was enabled. And Gen 12 support for fog volumes and various other render nodes was also enabled. A new reflection buffer API was implemented, and worker contexts were established throughout the client code. Resource sets are no longer unnecessarily created, and material updates are not pushed into processing queues if there isn't anything to update. Support and debug comparison code was added for stencil state checks, skinned objects, and forward stage. What the it said Gen 12 a lot, which is great. That's good. I like Gen 12 things, but like, I'm not a game developer. So I'm sorry, everybody. Resource sets are no longer necessarily created, and material updates are not pushed into processing queues if there isn't anything to update. That's pretty straightforward, but like, I can't grasp the enormity of it, you know? Like, it's good that things don't get spawned in when they're not needed, but is that solid? So I guess let's just go on to the next one. Speaking of the forward stage, a lot of work went into it this month, and we hope to enable it soon. I think the forward stage may be like their first solid implementation of Gen 12. Somebody else might be able to clarify that for me, though. Y'all still playing this dream? No, Bear Ripper. In fact, we're not playing this dream. We're just talking about it. We've upgraded. Support for eye overlay pass was added too. The Gen 12 port of planet ground fog was completed, and Gen 12 ports of atmospheric and volumetric cloud rendering commenced. That's going to be helpful. Getting clouds onto Gen 12, I'm assuming, is going to be pretty good. Additional improvements to planet terrain height map rendering and spherical cloud and planet terrain shadow rendering were made. I'm a game developer and I didn't quite understand that. It could also be my horrible reading. On the core engine, various improvements were made to the profiling system to better analyze fibers and their preemption, and to track callers for semaphore weights and file reads. Support for collection peaks was also added. Various optimizations from recent performance captures on the PTU were implemented. Also, power scaling is now disabled for all threads the engine spawns with normal or time critical priority, which helps thread scheduling and improves performance. Additional optimizations were made, including removing the final lock in the background job manager, checking authority requirements when activating component updates based on ECUS events, and skipping updates of hidden entities. Lastly, improvements were made to reduce the size of Windows executables and their symbol files. Get me out of the engine section, please. God, I can't even. I feel like I'm reading in a different language sometimes. Oh, gosh. 3.17.1 is pretty smooth so far. Solid, that's good. Basically, they're working on occlusion, which is needed for large capital ships to not render. Yeah, they've talked about that a little bit too, huh? 3.17.1 has not been smooth for you. Buggy as hell. It will get better, but let's not kid ourselves. Well, when it says the thing ported to Gen 12, I just assume this is a very good task done. Yay, Gen 12 things. Will they stop rendering grass through ships? We've seen one of the things that they've worked on. I don't even know if I have the video footage for this. They've talked about touch bending though, and shown it off a little bit in terms of foliage, having grass and foliage react to things that are touching them so that they don't render through ships and stuff like that. I can't seem to find the video clip for it. I honestly wouldn't know which folder it's in. It might be an engine. That could make sense, but I don't see it here. Nah, but touch bending is a thing. I don't know when it's coming. I find it funny that folks want to hate the game so much they follow streamers. It's easy, man. You can't just go up to the people who make the game and talk to them. So, you know, find somebody else who is into it. It's a major rework of back-end tech. The old rework. When is Alien Week roughly? I can't find anything I'm new. I think it's next week. Not entirely sure though. When are procedural bed sheets coming? To be quite honest, probably not for a long time. That stuff's probably coming to Squadron 42 first. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy the game, but it's tough sometimes. It is tough. It is tough. This game can be frustrating. The nice part is, I am now comfortable saying that this is a very frustrating game headed in the right direction, rather than this is a very broken alpha that I don't know where it's going. Like a year ago, I was not that sure about the direction this game was headed in. I was excited for it, and I was excited for different features here and there, but as an overall vision, it still felt very iffy. And even now, it doesn't feel like everything is fitting together cohesively. I couldn't tell you what the ultimate goal of Star Citizen is. I would say it depends on the person, but it still feels a lot more solidified and understood by CIG themselves. And I like that. All right. So we got out of the engine section. Thank God. Now we get to go to features, which is honestly the more interesting part of these monthly reports. So let's see what they're doing in features in Star Citizen. Alongside progressing with scanning, something just happened. Somebody followed on Twitch. Welcome. Alongside progressing with scanning improvements, the team fixed bugs. Whoa! Most notably those that had been affecting the gameplay of Arena Commander and Star Marine. Continued feedback from the community regarding these areas of the game has been hugely helpful. Hugely helpful and is greatly appreciated by our team. I always find it funny when people are like, why do they keep adding things? They should just fix bugs. Why aren't they fixing bugs? Why are they just keep adding things? And then you look at the section of bug fixing in their progress tracker, and like they're always trying to fix bugs. Like, they don't just not do that. And it shows up in the monthly reports. It shows up in the patch notes. They just keep breaking. That's why they don't drop everything just to fix bugs, because then they just constantly fixing bugs. Actually, I guess technically they wouldn't be changing anything, so they'd probably be good. But they talk about it a lot. They do work on bugs. They just don't really get rid of the very, very, very bad ones. Yeah, the elevators are a specific frustration. The elevators, the star map, the Moby Glass, I guess now the inventory system is for sure one of them. What's up, Taryn? Good to see you. Improvements to the racing mode were made too, which is planned for an upcoming release. So features Arena Commander, not super interesting. Let's see characters and weapons though. In May, the team continued updating the scanning feature, improving the visual effects when triggering a ping wave while on foot, and how it highlights different contacts. That's exciting. But wait, it gets better. Interactable items and points of interest critical to mission progression will be highlighted too. All right, take that info and package that up in your head. Save that for later because we're going to come back to this. First, let me just show you what they meant by the ping. Pinging. Does this show it? No, that's MFDs. In fact, I think I'm in the wrong folder. We want to come here. Yes. So this is what the ping looks like right now in... No, that's not a good example of it. You know what? I might not have a good example of it. It doesn't even look like this anymore. That's kind of funny. So, I don't actually think I have a good recording of the ping, but they're working on it for FPS, which is going to be amazing because God knows we need it. But what the big highlight here that I'm interested in is the fact that this is going to highlight different contacts, interactable items, and points of interest, which works a lot with... I think it's something they talk about in the UI or the narrative section. Essentially, I think this is going to factor into the new player experience a lot. This is the kind of stuff that's going to make the game a lot better. The MFDs, yeah, that's an old update that they're working on, I think, still. Alien Week is a focus on the alien ships that are made in this. It's another sale. It's not a big deal. There's not anything really happening in game. They might release a trailer. They'll do some extra lore and information that week, but it's essentially just a sale of all the alien ships that they can't sell during Invictus Week. Sorry if I miss people asking about that. I personally just don't care about it. I don't care about the ship sales. But if you do have your eye on a ship, especially the Banu Merchantman, it's probably going up in price after this, so this might be the chance to get it. All right, monthly report time. So keep that in mind about the scanning and highlighting different objects. It's going to come up. The team is also increasing the amount of information gathered from scanned objects. For example, a door will reveal its current state and if it can be affected via hacking. NPCs and other players will show the contents of their physical inventories, and player corpses will reveal their cause of death. I don't know if there's a good way to video game AR tutorials. This might show, like, I have this view in my head of what they're talking about, and I know games do it, but I don't know what it would be called. Like, it sounds like they're starting to get a lot more serious about implementing a system that allows you to look at something and understand what it does and what it's used for. And in a game like Star Citizen, where they want you to use everything, but not everything is usable, that seems really useful. Hooking up all this data can be quite time-consuming, as it requires a lot of data mining of different systems and their variables. Part of the work is ensuring the addition of future data will be frictionless, says the feature team. So there's no real clues here as to how far along this is, but hopefully it's coming. I don't even know if FPS scanning is on the progress tracker anymore. It is. So this is supposedly ending in July, which I think might coincide with the visor and lens rework, which is finishing some Squadron 42 work at least in June, and the player interaction experience and HUD system, which is finishing in September. I think all three of these things are going to combine to make a much more useful HUD, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. Do I think we'll get a new alien ship concept during Alien Week? And if so, what race will they make it? I don't know. To be quite honest, I think if we did get a new alien ship, it would be Banu. No, we do have the merchantman already coming in. I can't see it being Jian. It could be Tavaran, but Tavaran ships are very combat focused, and we've had quite a few, but I guess it's gotta be. They wouldn't make a Kurthak ship. And the Vanduul ships are due for a rework, so I really don't know who it would be. I guess best bet in terms of who has the least ships, it would be Tavaran, but I'm leaning more towards Banu. I could see a small Banu ship that's not used for combat. Tavaran bomber. Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, they had that bomber concept ship, right? Forgot about that. Only one alien industrial ship so far. The Gatak Rylan. I think that is. See, Santok Yai, Kartual, Defender, Glaive, Blade, Scythe. Yeah, I can't think of any industrial alien ships. I think a mid-sized Banu cargo hauler would be a very good addition, especially to go right along with the cargo rework. Give us like a Constellation competitor from Banu. Oh, that would sell. That would sell! Oh my gosh. That'd be cool. Let's see. Where were we? Did we already finish this whole section? No, we did not. Here we go. The team also created a model for serializing damage maps online, which is required for salvaging. The client is able to make accurate predictions, but can also rewind and replay applications of hits on the damage map. The server will still send the full map to a client when required, but this prediction will keep the need to send full data to a minimum. So the client is able to make accurate predictions, but can also rewind and replay applications of hits on the damage map. The server will still send the full... So it sounds like this is going to allow for the damage maps can be kind of cached on the client, and the client can edit the damage maps and then update the server when need be. Is that what... Can anybody that isn't dumb confirm? Not that everybody who doesn't know is dumb, I just feel dumb. Because it sounds like that's what they're trying to do here. Basically just say, okay, your ship can get damaged in any way whatsoever, but we're not going to keep sending that information over the interwebs. And if I'm not super dumb, I should be able to find... It's the same clip. It's always the same clip. You know what? Let me see if I can just search it. Come on. Nope. You know what? I think it's down here. There we go. Cool. So this is what they mean when they talk about a damage map. This is a very old concept. This is a previs, but it gives you an idea of what they're going for. Basically, the game will always save the data corresponding to what happens to your ship. And this can go as far as like melting holes into your ship and disabling your ship in that way, or it can go as far as straight up disintegrating your ship, shooting off the wings and doing all that stuff. And I think what they're saying here is, hey, we want the game to be able to track this rather than the server, so that it doesn't have to constantly update over and over. Sounds like they want to reduce the amount of information being transmitted. Yeah. Okay. So we're pretty spot on. At least as far as, you know, chat goes. We could just be bouncing misinformation off of each other. That's always good fun. All right, on to vehicle features. Vehicle features spent time throughout May working on Alpha 3.17 and Invictus launch week. Outside of release support, great progress was made on Quantum Travel Boost, there's that term again, primarily making it feel right as ships accelerate and attempt to maintain heading. This feature also supports points of interest, allowing players to fly towards highlighted destinations. So, this for me, this was the biggest part of the whole monthly report. Hey, there's farming. Hold up. I know you joke. Actually, maybe you don't joke. But there is farming in this game. They want there to be, at least. I think I can actually find it here. This was the first we saw of farming in game. Just the idea of trying to show us the progression of plants after you would plant them and how they would grow. And before we get back to the important bits that I was just talking about, I can also show you... come on. Where is it? This also is meant to show how plants change throughout the seasons of the game, because yes, the planets rotate and will orbit around their stars. So I kid you not, this is 100% real. They've already shown us in engine, or rather in their builder, plants changing based on the season. So farming will be a thing. But anyways, quantum boosting. Here's my theory. I'm gonna try and make a quick video about this on the second channel. But it sounds like they are trying to build quantum travel as a more interactive thing. Either A, because they want people to have more freedom. B, they realize they can't create enough engaging gameplay during quantum travel for people who are in single-seat fighters or single-seat ships, so they gave them more to do, or C, a little bit of both. But from what it sounds like, with the idea of maintaining heading, with the idea of accelerating your ship yourself, and the idea of flying towards highlighted destinations, it sounds a bit like they're going to let quantum be something that you can start to control. They also mentioned this back up here with, where was it? The quantum boosting, and that AI would now be able to accelerate while spooling. It all sounds like a much more manual process, and I think quantum travel might be getting geared up to change in a really big way. Like, definitely in a way I wasn't expecting. Yeah, kind of like Super Cruise and Elite Dangerous. Now, I was talking to Astropub about this, and he was saying it really kind of makes sense, as they like to try and build in this idea of you can let your quantum travel go and walk away, and it would be cool because you'll sit at the minimum speed, you'll be safe going straight, and it won't be a problem. Or you can take manual control and do this extra stuff that makes it, you know, a lot faster. And it makes sense given CIG's way of doing things. So we'll see if that's what they're doing. But that's a big deal if they are changing quantum that much. And there's even more about this later on we'll talk about too. The team are continuing to update persistent tech features to use the new systems and fixing problems along the way. General balance work continued too, including a pass on general item health to stop ships from shutting down from explosions. They also continued to balance, that's another kind of like a bug fix. They also continued balancing the refueling mechanic, deciding on the volume of fuel that starfarers can carry and the sizes of ships it can refuel. Are they trying to say that the starfarer won't be able to refuel certain sized ships? Or are they saying it might not carry enough fuel to do so? You'd like to see QT be slower, but gameplay be more local. Yeah, gameplay should be more local. We shouldn't have to... They've actually said this in the past, but they want you to be able to play around one planet for weeks at a time. Like the idea of plotting routes or being able to upgrade your computer for better quantum navigation. So cutting through an asteroid belt might drop you out, if not skilled. Yeah, this brings up a really good point for avoiding asteroids. Maybe the larger ones like a javelin. Yeah. Yeah, that could be the case. Let's see, the setup and balance of the new ground vehicle physics is progressing well. The team now have baseline handling and are laying out the remaining dependencies to make them game ready. We do have some footage of that too, I believe, if it has been saved. It should have been saved. But they've been, yeah, here we go. So they've been working on a remake of the way that vehicles act in this game. Anybody who's driven a ground vehicle knows that it's miserable and they feel super floaty. They just don't feel good. They're not fun to drive. But recently we've seen them focus on ground-based FPS radar. They've focused on making sure hovercraft are working correctly. They're focusing on new outposts. They're focusing on navigation meshes. They're getting new derelicts on the ground. They're clearly focusing a lot on ground-based gameplay. And this just falls in line with it. What we're looking at here is a remake to the way that vehicles work on the ground. So on the left is the new stuff. Or on the left might be the... No, on the left is the old. On the right is the new. So you can kind of see, especially when he goes off of this hill on the left side, to kind of catch some air here. It's very floaty. But when on the right side they catch the air, you can see that the front side of the vehicle immediately makes... Sorry, the mass of the vehicle immediately makes that front side drop. And you get a good sense of the weight. And then as they keep driving around, you can kind of... This sounds like Persona 5 music. And as they keep driving around, you can kind of see that like there's more weight to it. It feels a little more hefty, like it's reacting more to gravity. Still a little floaty, in my opinion. But that could be anything. That could be the gravity. That could be the vehicle itself. That could just be that it's not finished being worked on. But they've been building on this quite a bit. This goes for also stopping us from acting like Mass Effect 1 Makos and just driving up hills and doing nothing. Now you can see like gravity actually has an effect, so it'll drag your vehicle back down. And there was a little bit there also about how it falls and doesn't fall on its feet all the time now. So they've been working on it, and it sounds like they've got a baseline and are getting ready to bring it into the game. Looks like they added dampers to the suspension. They definitely added weights. Not the hover quad. Anything else? You don't like the hover quad? All right, let's see. On to graphics and VFX programming. That was reacting to bumps. What was the camera? Oh yeah, that. I wonder if that's natural camera or if that was the person handling it. Work on damage maps continued last month, with the team focusing on debris creating its own map based on the parent map. I think that means that if we go back to that example I was showing you guys before, with something like this, if you get your wings separated, like let's just pretend instead of a Gladius, this is like a, I don't know, a Starfarer, and it loses like a thruster housing or something. I think what this means is that when it gets cut off, the thruster housing's damage component will still correspond to whatever it came off of. I'm not sure why that would be a struggle. I don't even know if I'm right, but that's what I get from it. Who knows? They also implemented an interface for querying damage within an area and persistent snapshots, as well as optimization for processing hits. Water break. Everybody get hydrated. Big yums. All right. Where was I? For Gen 12, the team improved the viewport API and continued porting the region copy pass in render to texture to Gen 12. Render to texture is what they use. Y'all remember, you know how the security will call you sometimes and like their face will pop up on your screen, but it's not really their face. It's like their legs because their bodies glitch through the top of their cockpit. That's render to texture. That's actually a good example of like CIG not faking something when they probably should. Instead of just having you have some generic video file of the character talking to you and saying something, they literally put a camera in every spaceship and activate that camera to show you a live feed of what's happening in the spaceship in front of you. It's super taxing. It takes a ton of resources. And as you can see, if the character is glitching, then it doesn't always look that great. But it sounds like they're porting that in some way over to Gen 12. So that sort of taxing behavior hopefully will be improved. They enabled more stages and systems to work with Vulkan, including material fallbacks and depth readback. Fixes were made for the tessellation output of organic shaders and planet array textures not using texture 2D arrays. I know what you mean there. I feel you, CIG. I don't know what they mean. They also refactored screen capture to work with Vulkan and updated to the latest SDK. It's nice to hear that the Vulkan support's coming along. I was blown away when they said on the engine team that they expect Vulkan support by the end of the year. I was not expecting that. Nope. I'll still be surprised if it happens, but good for them if it does. Let's see. They do also investigated a number of... I skipped a bit. Work continued on improving image tests with CVARs being created. Does anybody know what a CVAR is? CVAR? What is a CVAR? CVAR. Console variable. Type of variable used in many computer games that can be manipulated by a text-based command line interface with the game or engine. So this is like just things that you can change on the spot with your command module thingy. Now that I know what they are being created to wait a custom number of frames before capturing to alleviate some of the timing issues seen on recent tests. Okay, so I get you. It's like adding a countdown to your recording. They also investigated a number of performance-related issues, including a particle effect problem caused by a huge particle count, and the cost of refraction resolves. Yeah, they're like they are display info things. Mrs. Tomato just chilling in the back. Where is this reading from? This is the monthly report for May. So they release one of these every month. Here's April, here's March, here's February. We're just going through the May one right now, which came out last week. A number of bugs were fixed in the render-to-texture system, including a series of asserts caused by setting a large aspect ratio to an RTTO, as well as fixes for hollow volume sorting issues with the mobiGlass. The team also continued improving shaders with experimental improvements to the hair color model and Wear V2, including addition of primer and complement in Layer Blend 2. I think Wear V2 is probably... what you guys remember recently on Inside Star Citizen, we had a dev come on and talk about some of the inconsistencies they noticed in the wear that you receive on your armor. I think that was here, yeah. So this is kind of showing how the wear will build up on your armor if you're out in the snow. Here's a lovely picture, you know, extra B-roll of somebody walking through the snow, because why not? And this is kind of showing what they're working for with this Wear V2. Whoops. Oh, wait. Yeah. So this is kind of what they're doing with Wear V2. They want to standardize intensities. They want to have a smart material generator, probably something that, you know, decreases some of their time, things like that. They want to add some new materials, so we're seeing sand and soot, and believe it or not, this sand actually makes a ton of sense because they've also shown us that they want to make some just a little bit of stalling while I find this video clip, and I can't find it, so I can't stall anymore. That's why we're not gonna move forward with it. Yeah, I can't find it. Sorry, it does, like, it makes sense though because they're working on sandy caves. So the fact that they're showing us sandy buildup, I don't think is just a coincidence. I think that's actually something they're going to bring in. And then soot also probably makes sense if there's any volcanic activity in Pyro, but I don't think there is. There's also mud and grime, things we would probably see on places like Microtech. And then there's obviously the fire and damage wear that we get. So all of this stuff I think is what's going to be included in Wear V2. Dirty ships are actually already a thing. I'll show ya. If we go to wear and tear, you can see that they've already started. No, you can't really see it there. They've started building in dynamic shaders on ships that do get dirtier as you don't renew them, claim them, as you leave them on planets. They start to get some buildup of the local materials. And they'll also get buildup of over age, over time, just because you're using it and technically not going to the, what do you call it, a ship wash? I don't know. But where V2 will probably make it work a lot better and look a lot better, that's for sure. I say probably, and then I say that's for sure. Some kind of idiot. Let's go with probably. All right, moving on to the lighting section. May saw the lighting team continuing to support the Siege of Orison mission. The playable space of the mission is massive, which means a lot of lighting work goes into covering the whole area to provide an interesting and unique atmosphere at night and day, while also ensuring good player visibility on objectives and AI. This is an event that they have been going on about. I mean, let's go all the way back to February, right? And let's see if they say anything about a dynamic event. Dynamic conversations. That's not the right dynamic event. And here we go. Narrative continues scripting and capturing dialogue for an upcoming dynamic event. This is a big one. It has multiple characters and several non-linear objectives. It's one of the more complicated event scripts to date and required close collaboration to ensure that every possible gameplay trigger was accounted for. I don't know if this is on the progress tracker. It's not. But clearly, like, they were talking about this hardcore back in February. We go to March, look it up. Dynamic events. Oops, I spelled dynamic wrong. I spelled dynamic wrong again. Spelling, you know, it's hard. So we scroll down until we can see if they have... Nope, no mention in March. How about April? Dynamic conversations, dynamic resolutions. Narrative continued support for ongoing work on future dynamic event missions and discussed how best to incorporate a new upcoming gameplay module into one particular mission's flow. This isn't just about the new dynamic mission. This will probably also have to do with the missions we're getting at derelict settlements. But I do think this also is probably incorporated into that. So this has been a huge event they've been preparing for, the Siege of Orison. And for those who haven't seen it, it's a huge outdoor urban area with tons of areas for gunfights. Doesn't look like anything they've made before for the game. Polish and optimizations were also done. The space being a fully man-made exterior location means a lot of light entities and shadows must be rendered, so the team spent time ensuring and performance was smooth without too much visual sacrifice. They also worked on the new derelict reclaimer locations, which involved embedding them into the planet's surface and dressing and lighting each version. We also have some clips that I can show you of the derelict reclaimer, because this is also a big deal. The derelict reclaimer is kind of proof again of how quickly they're able to iterate now on stuff they're working on. We were not able to get new derelicts this quickly before, and the locations team seems to be on top of things in terms of actually starting to fill these out and make them be a thing in game. So we'll find that on Microtech, probably in 3.17 too. And we can actually now jump into locations, which is a very exciting part of this report. Straight off the back of the Reclaimer. The way I like to do it. The locations team spent the month working on the Reclaimer space missions and derelict Reclaimer settlements. So that's what this is. That's what the thumbnail is that y'all are looking at on YouTube. The new derelict Reclaimer settlements. And that's different from the derelict that we were just... Excuse me. Sorry. That's different from the Reclaimer we were just looking at. This is an actual settlement. This is a town. This is going to have NPCs walking around in there. You're going to be able to get a mission here. You could probably find some loot here. And the idea is actually not one that they're going to stop with just this Reclaimer. This is something that they have shown us. Here we go. This is something that they've shown us at length. The idea of these different ships that we'll be able to find, these derelict ships that will have people living in them. They'll have different settlements and factions, and overall just build a lot more interest into these areas. You know, you don't want to just have a building with people in it every time you get somewhere. Sometimes you want to see that those people made use of the area around them. So this is a good addition. and it's supposed to be expanded pretty quickly, as I think they're about to see here. The next stage is to take this proof of concept, which is the reclaimer, and see how much more depth can be added with variations to both environmental art and level design. They're also looking to add more module and habitation variations, more missions with different modifiers, and potentially new gameplay elements. And we've also seen that. We've seen that they're working a ton on figuring out the tools that will allow them to make these places with more variation. We've seen that they have a ton of different examples of the ways that they can apply them. I think there's a pretty good shot here that actually shows the different types of derelict they can use for this. Yeah, this. So you can see like they have a ton of different like presets that they can use to diversify these wrecks. And once they can also get the AI to be a little more diversified, that'll go a long way. This isn't all stuff that works in Squadron 42. So if you go to the progress tracker and you look up things like a derelict spaceship, see how this says Star Citizen, but this says Squadron 42. So like some of the stuff that they're working on is for Squadron 42 first, but there are still plenty of teams that are only working on Star Citizen. And some of these teams are putting in work that is exclusive to that. We might get a Reclaimer derelict, but I do think that the work that they're talking about here is more Star Citizen specific. Oops. So after this, the 600I and Mercury derelict settlements will also be worked on and be located on Daymar. The level design team are currently looking at what the environment art team has done in preparation for adding missions and AI. Coke Zero? Man, YouTube is popping off today. Twitch, where you at? Bayou Buckle Bunny, I know who you are. Just so you know, your Twitter link in your Twitch bio is dead. Well, thank you. I'll have to fix that. I know who you are, Bayou. Good to see you. In fact, let me give you a shout out. I know you stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the stream. Friend of a friend. I consider you a friend. We've talked. The rework of Lorville's cityscape is also ongoing, with the team switching from concept / pre-production to production. So Lorville's getting a pretty big rework as well. The environment team is doing work on that, and that's going to be good because that's going to help us get more locations that are indoors. A big reason that they're working on the city is because Lorville was made a long time ago, before they really had everything figured out. So all the buildings are really small. The city is not laid out super well, and it's not very sprawling. It doesn't feel quite like a city when you compare it to New Babbage or even R-Corp. Well, especially R-Corp. But what we do know is that they've been working on these modules. Oh, that's not right. They've been working on these modules. This is in Orison specifically. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Might not be able to find this. Sometimes these things aren't in the places I expect them to be. So they've been working on building interiors, and I believe they talked about this in another recent ISC or maybe Star Citizen Live. I don't remember, but they're working on building interiors that'll allow us to have things like assassination missions, delivery missions that require us to go into these buildings. So when you're going to R-Corp, instead of just landing on the top of a building and then picking up a box and leaving, they're going to have plans for us to actually be able to go into the building and get a little more experience out of it. But I can't find the example of the interiors that I'm looking for. Sorry. But yeah, they're going to make Lorville much bigger. Thank you, Bayou. Appreciated. Are we getting the possibility of selling the goods that we salvage, or salvaging is coming and the materials that you retrieve from the ships will be useless? I know for sure you'll be able to repair with the things that you get from salvage. I don't know about selling it. I would assume it would be sellable, but it hasn't been confirmed or anything like that. Do I think it will be... Hello, Yamez. Thanks for getting active on Twitch. Do I think salvage will be a big part of the game in the future, especially post 3.18? Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure. Much better chat over here. YouTube chat is all tweens. What? I feel like Twitch is the place with the worst reputation. I mean, I guess it depends on what you like and what you don't like in chat. Either way, I like both chat, but YouTube's definitely more active today, which is a rarity. Is it not just scrap that you salvage? I assume so. I assume it's scrap. I just don't know if they're gonna let you sell it. Like, they haven't told us anything about how it's stored, what you're gonna do with it after you collect it. I'm still waiting for them to kind of talk a little bit more in depth. Z-Pilot, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. That support goes a long way. Thank you. Let's see. Where were we? Finally, for locations, the building interiors mentioned in last month's report, those are the ones I was mentioning, have entered the concept phase. We're still in early days, and are still discussing how best to organize the conception so that concept art, environment art, and level design all work together in the most efficient way. We're also designing what we want to tackle in the proof of concept and what should be our target. Everyone here is eager to tackle this challenge and find a way to add pockets of gameplay directly into landing zones. This, I can say, is probably going to benefit a ton from their recent Mighty Bridge tool, which you guys may have heard of. Something that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes here in the tools section. Mighty Bridge is one of these fabled tools that they've been working on for the past decade. Part of one of those, one of many reasons that they've taken so long to make this game. And what Mighty Bridge does is it brings in the tool Houdini, or actually other tools I believe can also be implemented, and allows them to be put directly into the game editor, so that instead of having to put something together, figure it out, load into a different software, and then double check if it works, it's going to allow the team to make these space stations, make these building interiors, make these caves in these cities without having to leave the game builder first, which should speed up things a lot more. So I imagine they're looking towards using this Mighty Bridge tool for these building interiors they're talking about. Whoops, battery's about to die. It's been a hot minute since you streamed me. Did I ever get a new GPU with all the donations people gave me? No, I have not gotten a new GPU. Everything has been, well, actually recently it's been going pretty well. I don't know when the last time you saw me was. I've done a couple different things to upgrade and help the computer, but most of the money that I make doing this goes towards rent. Well, not rent, but like food and living, and traveling to go see family. We don't really make enough money yet for me to keep to buy some new computer components. I like to, I like to work towards it, but then we get taxes and like monthly bills come, and I'm like, okay, we're not buying anything this month. Yeah, prices are coming down at least, which is nice. Hopefully we get to spend a few months here in Turkey and we'll get to save a little bit of money. And by the time we get back, we can support, we can get the graphics card. Got like $400 in 20 minutes. You were super excited. Ooh, was that December or something like that? Yeah, it might have been December or January. Yeah, that was a good time. So $400 in 20 minutes is like, I don't know, 15 to 20% of my income in that 20 minutes for the month. So that's a, yeah, I was probably very, very excited. 5.1% of your graphics card. Space Frames, thank you so much for the graphics card, the spot there. I appreciate that. To be honest, with the amount of money that it costs to buy a graphics card in Turkey, we could like straight up, actually, hold up. If I bought a graphics card, like a 2080 Ti, no, 3080 Ti, what is that, like $1,200-$1,300? Yeah, we'd be able to live. That's 3 months of rent in Turkey. So the graphics card argument is still trying to gain some steam on my part. A country with the worst inflation on the planet right now, but you can't afford new components. Yeah, dude, because plane tickets aren't based on Turkish prices. I still have to pay $4,000 to make everything happen. And also components are very expensive over there. Forgetting that going to Turkey also requires quite a bit of money. Not trying to be pedantic, and your finances are none of your business. None of our business. It just strikes me as odd. Oh, odd that I didn't get the graphics card? I mean, dog, your finances are... I mean, my finances can be whatever you guys... If you want to hear it. Like, December, I was making about $2,500 to $3,000 a month between both me and my wife living in California. I can lay it out for you line by line why $400 is not going to be enough for us to afford a GPU right now. But that's the way it is. I wanted to get a graphics card, but it didn't work out. They were too expensive. I couldn't find a good one. We had to do taxes. February happened, which saw the war happen. A lot of people had to buckle down on their funding in terms of Patreon and stuff. So we lost quite a bit of our monthly support in February. Star Citizen also had a bad month because they did the roadmap update. A lot of people quit support because of that stuff. It's not as simple as getting a chunk of change in one stream and then being able to buy something big. All I made a month here between Patreon, YouTube, Ko-fi, and Twitch. In January, we were making about $3,000 a month or so. At this point, we're now making around $4,000 a month. So it's going up. It's getting there. But, you know, two grown-ass people living in California, that's not that much money. No, Bonger, I'm not responding to you. I was responding to the other person who was talking about the finances. And the 1080 Ti is still doing the job. Like, I'm going to make it last right now if I can get a 4080 later this year so that I can get something that would render videos better. The 1080 Ti does the job still. Zenspoon, I appreciate that gifted sub. Thank you. Wavern, thanks for becoming a channel member as well. Much love. Far, you too. Thank you all. I'm not saying this stuff to get support. I do appreciate you guys coming in, but I do think that people sometimes don't fully realize that it doesn't make as much money as you might think. You're making about £2 a video. Hey, it's a start though, dude. I definitely remember that. I'm blown away that I do make as much money as I make right now. I'm blessed, to be quite honest, but it is, you know, we haven't been in the best place to make use of that, which is why we're going to Turkey. $2,500 a month in Cali is basically homeless. Yeah, we haven't been able to get an apartment yet, but my parents have been kind enough to put us up for a while. Anyways, sorry, we're getting way away from the monthly report. We're way off track. We'll talk about that all after. Everybody was like sitting here listening to Star Citizen development, and then I just got into money. Let's see. We are on to narrative. Last month, Narrative continued to work with... How long did that take? Narrative continued to work with design on a handful of new missions and initiatives. This included discussing new mission archetypes and tackling the new player experience to devise a system to introduce new players to the game's various mechanics. This was the thing I was talking about. This was the thing I was talking about earlier with the HUD and the visor and stuff. My partner's Turkish, yeah. She's from Turkey. Nothing wrong with asking for super chat subs and stuff like that. It's how being a creator works. It is. It feels weird, honestly. Thank you, though. I appreciate you, Space Frames. No problem on the topic change. We're only going to Turkey for a little while. It's just enough time to save up. Currently in Central Oregon, it's starting to get pricey here. And rainy. Y'all get a lot of rain up there. I love it, though. I like Oregon. I lost my spot. So the new player experience they're working on with the narrative team, right? So if narrative is doing stuff and UI is doing stuff and features is doing stuff and all of these things is based on allowing people to get better new player experience, it seems like that's like their biggest focus. Well, not their biggest focus, but that seems like a really big focus now compared to before. They never talked about new player stuff. And like, new player stuff wouldn't really be that useful if the UI couldn't back it up and the HUD couldn't back it up. So it's really nice to hear. Bayou! Appreciate you with the sub. Any Oilers in the chat? Oilers. The Oilers? Is that Alaska? Turkey sounds better than fixing planes on the ramp at 40. 40? Fixing planes on the ramp, like as a mechanic? That's why you're planning to move to AZ. Yeah, I think we'll be here for a few years, but we'll probably end up heading out. Zen Spoon, thanks for gifting out that sub. Much appreciation, buddy. Know the YouTube struggle. Stay consistent and keep putting out amazing content. Thank you, JV. Appreciate you. Do you make videos on YouTube? Edmonton. Oh my gosh, Edmonton. Oh, that's cold. That's cold. I was looking at moving to Edmonton before I was going to do this. It's actually probably the most important denial of a job I've ever gotten. This was right when the pandemic started. Like, I'm talking March 14th. It was the day that the US market finally realized we were in a pandemic and everything started shutting down and people started firing people. I had flown all the way from Turkey to North Carolina. They literally paid to fly me from Turkey to North Carolina for an interview for this job. That's not a cheap flight. And then I got there and I was walking, I got to the office, right? This is a big company too. It's not a small company. I got to the office. I'm in the car. I'm getting my things together to go in here and do an interview with the CEO. And the dude left. He freaking walked out and left before I even got to go inside. Didn't get the job. Like, I interviewed with people. They had me in there for an hour talking to multiple people. Didn't get the job. But to be honest, I think if I had gotten that job, I would have never ended up doing this. So kind of happy I didn't get the job. It was cool. Whatever, man. You missed out on a tomato. Fixing planes just isn't fun sometimes. I can imagine. Fixing computers isn't fun, and planes are much bigger and more explodey. Narrative also continued to release new lore content, starting with another Lore Makers, where the team answered community questions from Spectrum. This was followed by Homesick, a short story that originally appeared in Jump Point. I wonder how that, I haven't even heard of that. I'll read that later. And an Empire report detailing a scandal around the discovery of new life. Ooh, that's fun. So for anybody who doesn't keep up with the lore, not only is sometimes they release these lore stories, they have something to do with things they're working on for the game, but they'll also release stuff that is ongoing. So last year they released, was it last year? Might have been 2 years ago. They had an election for the Imperator, which is kind of like the president of the galaxy. And we got to vote in it, and like the candidates all had their issues and their platforms, and like there was all this stuff going on. So they do that a lot in this game. And if you're really into lore and you like a game that like acknowledges that you care more about just playing the game, you care about like the story and what's going on and all that jazz, Star Citizen is pretty good at that. Scott, thank you for the membership on YouTube, especially as an extra supporter. Much appreciated. Anybody who is a member on YouTube or on Twitch, might I remind, has access to all the exclusive videos. We just released a new one last week. It's a higher in-depth and longer detailed report about what's coming with Pyro. You get access to all of those. So please check that out. And yeah, thank you so much. Oh, also you can gift memberships on YouTube now. Did you guys know that? Like, you gift members, you gift subs on Twitch, you can gift memberships on YouTube. It's happening. YouTube's catching up. All right, the Manchester-based development side of QA focused on Invictus Launch Week mission and continued support. Invictus Launch Week mission. What's the Invictus launch week mission? I don't even... Did I miss something? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Towards the end of the month, planning and testing for Alpha 3.17.2 and 3.18 began. This involved working through quaters for each patch's deliverables to ensure features are tested as much as possible before being published. Is the siege they're talking about? Okay. It's weird that they still called it Invictus Launch Week Mission even though this came out after they delayed it. Welcome to the 21st century. Yeah. YouTube took a while to do that. They do the 50-50 split. Actually, no, sorry. YouTube is better than Twitch. Twitch does 50-50. YouTube gives you 70%. I don't want your damn videos. I just want to help you out. At least come and chat with us. Twitch is 50-50. YouTube is 70-30. Twitch takes a ton of money. YouTube's better at supporting creators, yeah. They missed the target date. So, like, why not call this Siege of Orison? Because they call it Siege of Orison up here. In the, I actually don't know where they called it Siege of Orison. But they referenced it somewhere else. The Frankfurt-based QA team also tested the Siege of... What? Wait, now they're calling... Why did they call it Invictus Week Mission here and then Siege of Orison here? And continue to support various development teams via their embedded testers. I wonder if... So I guess this must all be coming from the different teams. And somebody compiles it and they just refer to it differently. Yeah, Patreon has the best split. For sure. No, I'm in May. This is the May report. Patreon, I think, is like 15%. So they give you like 85% of it. Something like that. Yeah, different people writing the different sections. For AI, integration checks were completed for updates to existing and new features, which were then added to the main branch. They also tested the AI used throughout the Siege of Orison mission. JV, thanks for becoming a member on YouTube. You also get, there's like a community post for members too that I'll use more. I wish Twitch had that. I wish Twitch had a way that you could post something that every subscriber would see. Instead, you have to be like, okay, Twitch subscribers, go to my Discord so that you can talk to me. YouTube's coming to the 21st century. Twitch is still working on the 20th. Yeah, Ko-fi has the best split. The problem I'm starting to have with Ko-fi is that they are the only ones now who don't let you host content. So they make me, I have to unlist the videos and stuff. But yeah, Ko-fi overall has the best split because they just use PayPal's normal funding. But you could also just use PayPal. Or use whatever works best for you. That's why I try to use all the platforms so that people can do what they do. Locations QA tested the new mission location and expo halls. They also began working more with the editor to better support the team in creating test levels with very relevant systems. For the engine team, focus was on page heap testing and locking down memory issues in-game. They also continued to learn more about the flow graph and coding for future automation. The tools team continued to receive support with continued testing of DataForge, Star Wars, Excel Core, Copy Build, and the Sandbox Editor. These are just like random little things that they use, little tools inside their builds. I don't know what the heck they were. I always like Star Wars, though. It makes me really want to say Star Wars. Star Wars. G-Sharp, thanks for also becoming a supporter on YouTube. Y'all are great. Thank you. PayPal and Patreon are great as long as you don't say a single politically loaded word in public. I don't know. I have a couple Patreon people I support who do political stuff. But maybe they thread a fine line. Oh, and tools. Speaking of tools, lovely tools. Our favorite topic in Star Citizen. In May, the integration of the Mighty Bridge into the editor was completed. This also allowed the deployment of the first official Mighty Bridge tool, Vegetation Scattering, which we love being in the garden, which will allow teams to deploy vegetation without collisions, brushes, and entities on planetary surfaces and objects. This will be especially useful for derelict settlements and outposts, but will still be used across many PU locations. The next step is to develop a tool for creating crashed ship craters and tails in the ground in less time and at higher fidelity. That that makes me think of like cow tails and horse tails just like sticking out of like tails, not ship tails, but like animal tails just sticking out of the ground everywhere throughout Star Citizen. Just like a weird new glitch. The procedural location tool is also progressing well. The foundation is now a lot stronger than the team have begun creating basic layouts. And the team began creating basic layouts. They've also moved to supporting corridors and corridor loops, as well as supporting the various required templates like space stations, caves, underground facilities, and more. The team's current goal is to get V1 to the designers and artists so they can gather feedback and get it production ready. So that's not necessarily the Houdini bridge tool, the Houdini tool in Mighty Bridge, but procedural location generator tool. I think they actually talked about this in one of these other ones. What's it? March? That this is something they've been working on. Here we go. So they started working on the procedural location tool, which will speed up the production of certain locations. That was in March. They're designing the tool's template system to allow the designers and artists to procedurally generate various locations, such as derelict outposts, settlements, caves, and underground facilities. So 2 months later, they are now saying that it's still progressing, the foundation is stronger, they're getting that ability to grow space stations, caves, and underground facilities, but with 2 months of work, it's still in progress. So that's a long-term tool, it seems. You think sub-only streams can be useful on occasion, but can't really do that until you're much larger. Did somebody mention sub-only streams? I do stream the monthly Q&A to specific group. Houdini's specific is procedurally generated everything, an incredible tool. It's cool they've gotten it into the editor now. We wouldn't bat an eyelash at actual animal tails. You know what we really we deserve is... Where are they? Where are my big guys? Where are them space whales? Come here, concept art. I know I've got a picture of you somewhere. Ya old whale! There you are. These tails. Let's just get some of these tails sticking out of the ground. That would actually terrify me. I wouldn't play this game anymore. Don't do that, CIG. Good evening, Caleb. Alright, tech animation we're on now. So, tech animation team spent part of the month addressing small tasks that will ultimately improve the quality of life for all devs. Several of these revolve around the asset pipeline in Maya, which was refactored to both consolidate multiple workflows and galvanize the core pipeline code with the knowledge gained throughout production so far. Okay. One of the team's new initiatives to load skin data from the engine's data files is yielding excellent results with a 1200% increase in loading data. Does that actually mean skin? Like, I never know if they actually mean what what they're saying. Pseudo Nick! Yo! Tentacle situation. How you doing, Pseudo? Or shall I call you Nick? Good to see you, good to see you. Don, the whale was well endowed, we'll say. Yeah, they've been saying for a while they can't handcraft things at the scale they want to operate, so it's normal they spend this much time on tooling. Yeah. There's actually a good video on that I did. Chris, I think you I don't remember if you became a member. If you are a member though, there's a really good video. Not to toot my own horn or anything. One of the supporter videos on the YouTube channel actually goes over these tools and how long they've been working on them and why they're so important. If you're curious about that, I'd check that one out. I liked that one. Let's see, they also continued with the long-standing initiative to replace slow rigging solutions with a new plugin. This will see us redefine our workflows for creating rigs and see a much-needed improvement to character deformation throughout the game. Soft bodies. Okay, this is UI. Usually I love the UI section, but this one is tiny. May saw the UI programmers support the various PU releases by fixing bugs and adding requested features. They also refactored backend code to support the persistent tech that will come online in Alpha 3.18. A bummer, not much to go on with UI this month, but you know, it happens. And then finally, VFX. May saw the VFX team complete their work for Invictus launch week alongside tasks for the Scorpius and Drake Mule. And finally, just a little nightcap on the most interesting subject in this whole monthly report. I'm glad that they finished with something interesting. VFX concept art began work on the quantum travel rework. This included storyboarding the gameplay requirements at the different stages of the process, such as spooling up, entering, and exiting. They're currently investigating how it could look in-game. I didn't even realize... Here you go, Grim Day. I didn't even realize how, like... I don't know. I always assumed that quantum travel, it reached kind of a finalized version. You guys remember the big rework that they did? What was that? Back in... In fact, we could just look this up. Let's see. What would it be? Star Citizen Quantum Travel. Probably like the rework they did for it. Hey, that's me. Here. So this was like a massive rework they did. What you're seeing right now. Do they show us? So this is what old quantum travel used to look like. You would just load in and then it would fling you at full speed immediately and you would just be going. You could do this blindly though, which is really cool. But the graphics looked different, right? Like even the approach looks different. You can't see the space station, can't see it, can't see it, can't see it, can't see it, and then you can see it. I think actually that's different for planets. But now when you quantum travel, the view, the way it works, the way you speed up, everything about it looks a lot different. So this was what happened with 3.0. This was the last big 0.0 update that we got. And they made a huge rework to quantum travel with these cool effects and this flashing thing and these particles and all this stuff. And you're like, oh man, this is huge. This must be what it's meant to be, right? I figured this was essentially not final, but like this was the format. It would be, you get thrown into quantum, you slowly speed up to a max speed, you stay at that max speed, you slow down as you approach your destination, you can see the destination coming, and then they drop you out. But from what we've heard across this whole monthly report, and then now at the end here, they're talking about going all the way back to concept art and investigating how it will look in engine, makes me think that this is just going to be completely different at this point. Like, it's going to be unrecognizable almost compared to what we're doing with quantum travel now. That's super exciting, unexpected, but I think that's the big news for this in this monthly report for me. And this is actually not a super long monthly report. I know we took 2 hours to get through it, but it's not incredibly long. It's a good one though. It had some good info in here. Not as much on the UI or feature section, but the locations, tools, and this the quantum travel stuff was interesting. It sounds like they're not making it necessarily harder to enter, but they're making it harder to do on your own terms. I think it's because they're having a coding network problem with the current quantum. Could have to do with some problems they're having. Chris, thanks for becoming a member, by the way. Now you get to see the video. I appreciate that. Thanks. So that's the monthly report for May, folks. That is the overall review. I will be releasing, this was a 2-hour stream, which is a lot. It's kind of ridiculous. You don't need 2 hours to go through this review. In fact, you don't need 30 minutes to go through this view. I have already typed up, May monthly report. This could be it. This could be last year's. I really don't know. Yeah, so I've already typed up the script for my own video, and this will be released on my main channel on Saturday. So if you don't like these super long 2-hour streams and you don't want to go back through this to get all the details, I condense it all with the interesting parts and throw it into like a 10-minute video. That'll be out on Saturday on the main channel. And this stream will be up on the second channel if you'd like to sit through all of it yet again. Or if you're watching it for the first time over there, thank you. A quick copy. Copy paste it all and make a video out of it. So yeah, that's kind of how I do this every month. If you're a fan of that, please consider subscribing. Come find us on the first or second Monday of the month to see what the latest development is in Star Citizen. And if you want even more in-depth discussion about all that stuff, become a member like these folks and you get exclusive videos every month. I don't really cover the Squadron 42 monthly report. I know it's important, but I don't have the time to do both, so I decide to focus on the Star Citizen one, and I'll start covering Squadron 42 as we get closer to it. But that about wraps it up for the monthly report, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you again, everybody, for being here, being a part of this. If you're watching on YouTube, I will see you in the next one. Have a good day.